Hi, and welcome to God in 10 Minutes. I'm Jack. And this time we're going to deal a little bit with some of the prophecies to the lost tribes. Last time we did a little bit with that, with the gates of their enemies, but this time we want to take a look at a few more. Remember the gates of their enemies. No, we won't do that right now. What we need to do is make sure that we know that the tribes, the nations of Judah and Israel are two separate nations. Okay? They become separate with the passing out of the birthright, even though they're not nations yet. So we want to go to Genesis 48 and take a look at verse 17. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand, oh no. Joseph brings the kids for a blessing. Jacob's going to die. And he presents the kids to Jacob in proper order. But Jacob crosses his hands and puts his right hand, the hand of blessing, on Ephraim's head. Ephraim's the second-born. Manasseh's first. And Joseph says, no, that's not right. This is the firstborn. Jacob says this in verse 19. And his father refused. And he said, I know it, my son. I know it. He also, Manasseh, also will become a people. He will shall be great. Manasseh's going to become a great nation. Goes on. But truly, his younger brother, Ephraim, shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. Abraham was promised in another place a company of nations, a world empire. Ephraim will be a world empire. Manasseh will be a great nation. And because they're both from God, they'll be the number one of history. Number one of history. What's the number one of history? World empire. The British Empire. Way better than Rome. Okay? But then in 49, we go to verse 10 in 49, the scepter shall not depart from Judah. Jacob is passing out the birthright before he dies, and blessing to the other tribes that don't get the birthright. And for Judah, he says, Judah be king, and a lawgiver from between his feet. Judah gets to be the king. And he's the depository of God's law, making sure that God's law is preserved and passed down through the generations. But that's all he gets. Joseph gets everything else. He's got a whole couple of paragraphs full of blessings and all in here. See? Genesis 17, 4 through 6, it says. Genesis 17, 4 through 6. As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, Abram. Hadn't even changed his name yet. And thou shalt be the father of many nations. Many being interpreted as multitude. Not interpreted, but the Hebrew word is multitude. A multitude of nations. Just what Ephraim got, wasn't it? Multitude of nations. And then, neither shall thy name be any more called Abram, but now it'll be called Abraham. See? For I have made thee the father of many nations. And 6, I will make thee exceeding fruitful, rich, and will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Nations all at the same time. Not one nation after another, because there's only one nation of Israel. What nations? France, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Northwest Europe, and the British Isles. Okay? And when that happens, those people will control, starting with 1800, they'll start to control all the gates of the world, the trade gates of the world. Panama, Gibraltar, Suez, Cape of Good Hope, Falkland Islands around the Cape of Good Horn, Madagascar, all those are controlled by Britain and the United States. Fulfilled that prophecy. But you go to Jeremiah 51:5, he's talking to Israel. Okay? It says, for Israel hath not been forsaken. And he's not talking about Judah here, because right away he says, and, or nor, Judah of his God. Neither one. So Israel has not been forsaken of the Lord of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Israel and Judah, separate two people. And then in 19, oh boy, in 1920. The portion of Jacob, that's Israel, not Judah, Israel, another name for Israel, and you'll see that in just a second. Portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Israel is the rod of inheritance of God. And then in 20 it spells it right out. It says, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee I will break in pieces the nations, and I will destroy kingdoms. With Israel I will break in pieces the nations. He will be my battle axe. And who, all down through history, has beat up on the bad guys? World War I, who beat the Kaiser? The Western Allies. World War II, same game. Korea, same game. The Gulf War, same game. Western Allies against the bad guys. The Israelites will put down the bad guys all through history. Hosea 1. Okay, 9. Hosea 1 tells the whole story of Israel. The whole story. And it outlines it between Judah and Israel, so you know there's no confusion there. God comes to Hosea and says, those people in Israel, because he was prophesying at the time when they were doing this, okay, just before they got conquered. He said, Israel's bad. They're whoring after all those idols, all those other gods and everything. So I want you to go marry a whore as a typical example of what they're doing. And when they have kids, they have 3 kids, and the kids' names will be the names of what happens to Israel when they get conquered. Okay, the first one is Jezreel, scattered. They are taken away out of the land. They don't even have a country anymore. The second one is called Lo Ruhama. Lo means no. Ruhama means mercy. They won't have God's mercy. They won't be protected the way they used to be. They won't be, killed off, but they're going to wander around, making it on their own. Plus, the third kid is called Lo Ami. No friend, no identity, they won't even know who they are. Okay? After a while, they'll forget that they were Israelites and connected with God and everything. Okay? But in verse 11 is the lost tribe thing, right? Because it says, then shall the children of, I'm sorry, 9. 10 was right. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. That sounds familiar? Right. Israel is going to be the sand of the sea, just like Abraham was told. okay, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, lo ami, all those nations around Northwest Europe and the British Isles, when the British Isles didn't know that they were God's people, all those other nations will say, you're the sons of the living God. It will said unto, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. How do those nations around the Israelites in Northwest Europe and British Isles, how did they know to call them the sons of the living God in 1800? Because they were all the Christians. They were all the Christian nations of the world. They were the sons of the living God. 2,500-year-old prophecy, you know, by Hosea, telling exactly what's going to happen to them before it does. That's God. It's God, you know. No nation could get together and prophesy ahead of time and make that happen, and, you know. Basis of faith. Why? Okay, that's number 5. On to number 6. Number 6, we're going to deal with Jeremiah as he fits into the lost tribes. Thanks a lot for watching. God bless.